I'm happy to say that after a really devastating summer, we're in a much better place locally in terms of our COVID numbers. So I just want to start by framing that. Currently, our case incidence, our percent positivity, our rate of transmission are all reasonably low. They're similar to where we were in October last year. They're similar to where we were in spring 2021. Testing remains strong thanks to our community partners and the really hard work of our public school system, who are doing some pretty groundbreaking things with testing. Our vaccination rates in Orleans Parish lead the state. They continue to exceed the national average. 2/3 of all residents, including those not eligible, have had at least one shot, and over 83% of our adults have received one or more doses. That's a huge number. So why are we in a better place? How did we get here? It's our layered mitigation measures. So it's strong adherence to mask wearing here in Orleans, helps reduce the risk of transmission, and high vaccination rates coupled with our vaccine test mandate. All of these things together work hand in hand to turn higher risk activities into much safer events. When the Delta variant was at its peak, our hospitals and our morgues were disproportionately full with unvaccinated residents from around the city and really from around the state. Since we enacted the mask and vaccine mandates, our vaccinations have increased over 11%, and our average daily cases have dropped 90%. This, despite a destructive storm that disrupted the vaccine availability, testing capacity, and caused significant resident displacement to other less well-vaccinated areas. So it's pretty good proof that we were in a very strong position before the storm and continued to be in one after the storm because of these layers. So we're in a much better place. I hope everyone agrees that life does feel a lot more normal. But if the history of pandemics has taught us anything, it's not to take progress for granted or assume the worst is over. Eerily similar to this time last year, what we're seeing is far northern states, Alaska, Montana, Minnesota, that escaped the summer Delta wave that we had, are now experiencing critical healthcare shortages and resorting to crisis standards of care in their hospitals. And a repeat winter surge of the rest of the country seems likely in some degree, following that same pattern. Here in New Orleans in the last 18 plus months, we've consistently agreed as a community on a few shared goals. Number one, protecting life and health of all of us. Number two, preserving commerce. Number three, safely participating in cultural traditions. And of course, for us, that means large events. We all want a normal holiday season and spring, and that of course means carnival and a whole host of other festivities, but we cannot forget or ignore the tragedies that occurred 2 years ago because of those festivities. And we know it's still the case that large uncontrolled gatherings without any mitigation measures continue to lead to significant outbreaks. So in the past few weeks, we've been talking with other major cities hosting large events so we can all plan and share best practices. And what we've learned is that these areas are very much like New Orleans. They take health and safety seriously. They too have come up with similar safeguards and practices to prevent a mass outbreak at their gatherings. And those are mandating vaccinations or testing requirements for participants, mandating or strongly recommending masks for crowded or indoor events, and vaccine mandates for other community-wide activities that are very, very similar to ours. So these layered mitigation measures that we talk about are widely accepted as essential for success while still allowing large events hosting tens of thousands of participants and spectators. And that's the balance that we're hoping to strike. We're not alone in our planning efforts, and that feels good, but we want to go further and make the case that with these precautions, New Orleans can throw the safest party in the world. So as you all know, Krewe of Boo is rolling this weekend after many, many long months, filling the parade-size hole in all of our hearts. To us at the health department in the city, this event provides not only a creative outlet for the community, but also a perfect opportunity for cutting-edge science. So this weekend, this Saturday, the health department, our volunteers, and our partners will be actively surveying crew members, parade participants, and crowd goers before, during, and after the parade on Saturday evening, so we can understand what our level of protection truly is and how attending a crowded parade and all of the activities that go along with it might affect transmission of the virus. Our hypothesis, because in science you always start with a hypothesis, is that even large uncontrolled events can be safe and fun when current virus levels are low, as they are here, vaccinations are high, and vaccines and tests are required to participate. But what I'm here today is to ask for the public's help. We need you to make this happen. We cannot prove our hypothesis and move forward with all of the large events we want to plan if we don't have the appropriate data to do it. Certainly, we didn't have any data Mardi Gras 2020 and could not have known the terrible tragedy. We don't want to be in that place again. This is how we save Carnival 2022, all together pitching in. So if you're going to the parade, please look for our team while you wait for it to roll. We're going to be on the neutral ground and the sidewalk side, so we're making it easy. In costume, of course, carrying easy to identify signs with a QR code that leads to a very short survey. This is not going to take hours. This is going to take maybe 3 minutes. If you take it, there's a little goodie bag with treats and free home COVID tests for you. We're then going to text or email you a survey a few times in the next few weeks after the parade to see how you're feeling and whether you've tested for COVID, positive or negative. If you're a crew member or someone marching in the parade is one of the elements, you should take our survey now. It's part of your registration through the crew. And I want to thank the Krewe of Boo for being fantastic partners and really working through this with us. So it should be on your registration page. We're also going to be at the pre-parade festivities to survey you again and in the weeks going forward, just like we're doing for the crowd. Your responses are, as always, completely anonymous. We're not going to share any personal information publicly. Whether you're a resident or a visitor, though, every survey helps us understand the more data points we have, the better we can make the case. So to the public, to all of you parade lovers from far and near, this is your chance to work with us to preserve our culture, our health, our way of life. All you have to do is look for us and take one of the surveys while you're having fun. We're not going to interrupt your fun. So I just want to thank everyone. Do your part for science and for our community this weekend, and we'll see you on Canal Street and parts beyond. That's all I've got. Any questions?